Kristen, and you're listening to Podcast and Amplify, a podcast for women entrepreneurs who want to amplify their voice and brand through podcasting and grow a wildly successful business. I'm the executive producer and host of 2 shows and an entrepreneur, and I love helping women grow their visibility, mindset, and business to the next level. Each week, I share tips on how to launch and leverage your podcast, and I'm bringing on the very best business leaders to give you advice on how to build your business empire. Let's amplify your voice and business. Hey, Podcast and Amplify listeners, welcome back to the show. Today, I'm excited to have Charlotte Petit Noble on the show. She and I met a few months ago, several months ago, and we just had this really heartfelt, really great connection. And I started thinking about, running your business and wanting to do it in a way that feels good. And how can we do that? And I thought, Charlotte's going to be the perfect person to talk about that. So let me tell you a little bit about her. So Charlotte specializes in empowering, teaching, and helping nonlinear thinkers to tap into their unique creative flow and intuition to create extraordinary businesses effortlessly and, most importantly, on their own terms. So welcome to the show, Charlotte.
Thank you very much for having me. I am so pumped and excited to share with you that moment. And I remember very well when we met, you were just closing your first season. And so you had all your, interview done and you were thinking of the next season, but you didn't know yet what it was going to be. And you told me, let me keep you in mind because I think that might be something that I want to explore in the future. And a few months later, you just sent me that beautiful opportunity to join you today. And I jumped on it.
Yeah, I think that's a great example of intuition, right? We can just start there. I met this lovely person. I just felt this connection. And I'm like, I'm going to honor that feeling of like, this is someone I should talk to, even though the timing wasn't right for them. I'm like, okay, but we can circle back. When I have a new season, we can circle back to that. So that was very much like an intuitive, like I get this really great sense from this person and this really great vibe.
Absolutely. And what you did very well, which is something that I always insist a lot with my clients, with my community, with everyone that I talk about, that you allowed the flow to happen. And that's the most important thing when you want to tap into your intuition. Most of the time we force things. We want to create from the 3D words instead of creating from the quantum field. Quantum field, you create from your thought, and then the material words, the thing that you want to create is on in the material words. But when you create from the material to the material, then you push your idea through the noise. You sometimes compete, you sometimes manipulate a little bit because the material world is made of things that made you force your way in. Whereas when you start to create from your intuition and from the quantum field, which is the energy field that all humans are, it starts with a thought. So it starts with you, and then that thought transforms into a feeling, and that feeling transforms into an action or lack of action, and those actions transform into result or lack of result. And from that, boom, you go back to even a new thought or the same thought, and you keep moving on, thinking, feeling, moving, resulting, boom, thinking, feeling, moving, resulting. And it's the whole cycle. Once you get that cycle down, then it's just a question for you to interrupt the pattern when it's not aligned with you and when it doesn't get you the unexpected miraculous result that you aim for.
I definitely have felt that sense of flow. And I've also felt the sense of pushing, right? And the flow feels so much better. But that was really hard for me to sort of get to that place. So you shared a little bit about what that looks like. How can our listeners tap into that intuition more? Like, how can they dial it up so that it's, becomes just more familiar?
That's such a good question. So you have several things. And I think the biggest mistake that we do as humans is that we separate the body, mind, soul, and heart. And when you separate that, it's very difficult to be whole and to tap into your intuition. And it's the same thing in life. When you separate your business life from your life, it becomes very difficult to have one support the other one. So the first thing is to stop separating as much as possible. The second thing is to find stillness and to cut the noise as much as you can. Because when you are in the present moment or when you wake up in the morning, first things you do is you reach out on your phone. So your energy already is on your emails, on your social media. Maybe now you think of your husband. Maybe you think of the breakfast. Maybe you think of the workout that you're going to do in the future. Maybe you think of what happened yesterday. And so your creative energy is already spread in so many battles that it's very difficult for you to stay focused into the present moment. So the best way to activate that intuition is to find stillness and to regroup all your energy into that precious present moment. The best way to do that, stillness. So meditation. Meditation is really the link between your mind and your soul. But there is other way where you can interrupt that pattern and really redirect that energy into the present moment. As I said before, we are body, mind, and soul. All those areas can help you to interrupt the pattern and redirect that energy into the precious present. So by the mind, you meditate and you link that to the soul. So meditation, stillness, great way to just cut the noise around you. Second thing, moving physically your body. You have a body, you can move the body out of the situation to break what's going on. You can take a cold shower, you can jump onto a pool, but it will allow you to break the noise around you and calm down your nervous system. So if meditation doesn't work for you, you can still move your body and change your body physically, put it out of the situation. And the last thing that I love doing is the breath work. Breath work always work. It's very physical as well. And you start to feel your body. You start to feel what's going on inside and you start to focus on something else, that your future, your past, you're putting everything onto the present moment. And that's when you have so many creative energy that you can hear the voice and that you can focus on actually creating something. And that's what it means to tap into your intuition. You shut the noise around you so that you can focus on the present moment. And by the way, this is such a key part of manifesting and flowing and creating on purpose, because you're so present into the present moment and you're so enjoying what's going on right now that the outcome, the desired result does not matter anymore. And that's when the magic happens. Because if you're too focused on that desired moment, you're missing the magic that is happening right now. You're missing the opportunities that are unfolding in front of you right now. So the vision, having a vision, fantastic tool to tap into your intuition, right? But then you have to disconnect and be back to the now so that you can actually use that energy in a very effective way.
I appreciate that interplay between the importance of being in the present moment, also having the vision, but it's not only about, because I think so much of us are planners or goal oriented. And so we get sort of fixated on that bigger vision or maybe what it's not looking like compared to what we want it to look like. And so, just having that power of the present and appreciating what's happening in the now and how important that is.
And I believe that there is a lot of things that we make complicated because of what we hear. You have to have a vision, tap into your vision. Yes, absolutely. But your vision is only a tool. It's a roadmap. It's a compass. You still need to be in the present moment so that you can act on that creative energy that you have now. And something that I found very valuable for people who have a hard time to detach themselves from the final result, from the desire, is really to focus, instead of focusing on, I'm going to manifest 10 more clients this month, instead of focusing on that number, focus instead of that new connection, of that new opportunity that will appear, that will unfold right now in the moment present. And from an opportunity to another opportunity, you will build until you reach out the desired result. But you have to detach yourself. And I found for my client and even for myself that when I told them to really focus on that attracting, manifesting that very next opportunity instead of that 10 more clients, the magic happened faster, the shift happened faster, the quantum leap happened faster. And in no time, you're like, have 20 more clients instead of 10.
Okay, so that's a great way to look at the manifesting of it and how we can look at it. What is the immediate thing that we can do now that's going to eventually create the results that we want? What does an intuitive business look like? How do you know if you are operating, based on your intuition?
Yes. So intuition feels very different in your body than your ego. So you can differentiate if it's the ego self that is talking with you and saying like nasty things and like you're not capable of, or look at what they do here. It's way more that much better than what you do and stuff. So when you tap and it's a question of practice. So the repetition will make it better and simpler and easier to recognize and to tap into. But an intuitive business is that feeling that you get when you're so aligned with what you're doing that there is no more time, there is no more space, and you don't get upset about what's going on externally. You don't get upset by the rejection because deep down you know that the universe, life force, the energy field has your back. So you trust the process and you know that no matter what happened, it's either going to be a lesson that you need to learn, or it's either because there is something bigger and better that is waiting for you. And you feel the intuition, and I'm sure you felt it as well when you like nothing else matters. You don't think of the bills, you don't think of the next client, you're just in your flow. And it can be while you speaking, it can be while you write, it can be like connecting with someone, it can even be like when you do marketing and when you connect with someone and when you sell something, but you never get upset by the thing that you cannot control, meaning the people's rejection, meaning what life force is throwing at you, meaning the social media what you see on social media, what the society is giving you as well. You don't get upset at it because you detach yourself from what's going on here so that you can finally hear is inside here. And so at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you get those next 20 clients because you're so fulfilled and nourished by what you're doing at that precise moment that you don't think about it. And that energy, that light following your intuition, that's what's going to create the snowball effect that will bring you not only 20 clients, but the 40 next clients, etc., etc. And there are ebbs and flow. We all live on natural cycles. The closer you can get from Mother Earth's natural cycle, the better you vibe and the better you attract the opportunity that vibe with your own flow. So natural cycle are very important as well because there are ebbs and flows. Absolutely. The business cannot like grow all the freaking time. Otherwise you'll be super tired and you will not honor your body, your human side. So a balance is needed. I don't like the term balance. It's more about the synergy. But when you know very well what your natural cycle is, you can then tap into the right energy and do the right action and take the right action when it's time for you to take that next action. The moon cycle is an awesome way to know what type of action you must take. There is a time to create new things, to have new projects, to plan, to put it out there. There is a time to reach out to people and adjust. There is a time to celebrate, and there is a time to release and reflect. And then boom, just as thought, you create a new project, you create a new thought. Then you create a new feeling, so you adjust. And then you take action, and then you celebrate, and then you go back to the cycle by releasing and reflecting. So the cycle never ends. However, the cycle is expanding.
Hey friends, we'll get back to the show in just a moment, but I wanted to take just a few seconds to invite you to a free workshop that I created. It's called Launch a Binge-Worthy Podcast, and it's all about helping you to create a heartfelt podcast that reaches your soul listeners and grows your business. If you want access, just go to podcastandamplify.com. It's totally free. Okay, friend, back to the show. I can really relate to those times in my business where I did just feel like that synergy, like what I'm doing right now in this moment, whether it's working with a client and I just feel like full body, like this is who I'm supposed to be helping, or I'm creating something for a marketing piece on social media and it's like fun, like time just flew by. And so I think those are some examples of some of those moments you're talking about, where you just feel like it's just easy, joyous. And, sometimes the other side of it creeps in, right? The pressure, the constriction, the questioning, am I doing this right? How do we get back on track from that?
So I just want to give you another example of what it means to act out of intuition. One of my latest clients posted something on Facebook. She's not a Facebook fan, nothing, but she just felt like that question could change so many people's life and perspective. And so she randomly posted on a Facebook group, not thinking about any result, just pure love, pure joy, pure, high vibe energy. You just want to share something. 2 hours later, 500 comments
Wow.
onto her post. And she's not even on Facebook that much. 10 days after, she decided to do the exact same thing. She didn't decide to do the same thing. She felt compelled to share something else. She posted, not interested in what's going to happen next. 600 comments later, 2 hours later. So when you tap into that energy and that flow, that's when the magic and the miraculous happen, because we are energy field and we always give wave to people, to things that we interact with. You can manifest from your bed, thinking I'm going to manifest that next person. So that next person, I don't know her, but I'm going to send her so much love, so much joy, so much whatever. I have clients in 5 days, they manifested the most amazing business partner, just putting their energy into that next opportunity. So that is what it takes to run a business from your intuition. Replying to your question now, when you feel low, and it's funny because we created a blueprint that I call the S.H.I.F.T blueprint, and each letter are for something. So the S is for standing up and standing out. So you have your vision, this is your roadmap. So in doubt, always come back to the dreaming part, to the reason why you're doing what you're doing, right? The H, it's to honor. Honor your cycle, honor who you are, honor your vision. If you are you can even relate that to the menstrual cycle. You can see it when you have your menstruation. Sometimes you're super high in energy. Sometimes you're super low. When you're low, your body needs to be nourished, needs to be loved. It's not a good timing to take action. So honor that. If it's a time where you feel like you don't want to talk to anybody, you feel like you just want to be with yourself, and it's probably what you need at the moment. So follow that flow. Nothing is permanent ever. So honor how you feel in that precise moment, because if you resist it, it will take way longer for you to go back onto the move and to go back onto the high vibe energy frequency that you need to keep creating. The I is for implementing your ideas and always innovating, not innovating in terms of, creating the next electric car. No, but innovating from what you already know and always trying to have that thing that will make you different. And it can be as simple as sending a voice note on LinkedIn instead of, a request or an email. So then we go into the F. The F is my favorite letter. You free yourself. You free yourself and you have society expectation. And that's when you find stillness. When your body is saying, no, I don't want to move. and it's resisting any type of action that you want to do, posting on social media or sending that email, chances are you're going to get zero result from that. So honor that feeling, trust your intuition that is saying, "Oh, it's time to regroup. It's time to fuel yourself, refuel yourself." So free yourself from what other people will say. Trust what your body, your mind, and your soul are saying, because that's the best guide ever that you're going to have. And the T stands for trust. Trust the process, trust yourself, the way you feel, the way you, and I'm not telling like, "Oh, today I'm not motivated," because that you can change and you can interrupt the pattern exactly the same way as I did before when I jump into the pool, right? I created an electroshock so that I could calm down my nervous system. There is always like, little tricks that you can take when you know that normally you're supposed to have that high energy flow. But I mean, if you're tired, you take a nap. You don't post on social media.
That is a excellent framework to follow. And I'm glad that you ended on trust, because you were talking earlier about knowing that energy and like source and it has you, and that word came to mind. It's like, oh, you have to trust the process, right?
Yes.
That could be really challenging. That is really challenging for me. It's something that I struggle with and I constantly work on.
I got something for you.
Okay, give it to me.
When that creeps in, my invitation is for you to stack the evidence that until now you did pretty good. You have a roof over your head, you're doing podcasts, you're interviewing amazing people, I'm sure. You have a business, you have clients. You can look back at a few years before, was not that. So stack the evidence that, yeah, until now, the universe or life force pretty much has my back big time.
Yes, so true. And for listeners who also struggle with trust, it's a great tip to think about all the things that go, that are different. I know for me, even just looking back a year or even actually 6 months, there's just been some really big changes, and I'm sure that we can all look back at our previous versions of ourselves or, just a few months ago and see the changes. And actually also what's been consistent for us, the ways that we've been consistently been held and supported, as those things are equally as important. So you've shared so much wisdom today, and I got the same sense from you that I did when we first chatted. And when I listen to you speak, I feel so optimistic and like hopeful and inspired. So thank you for coming on and sharing that energy with us and your tools and your frameworks and just your all the learnings that I know that you have and like to share out. I am ending my episodes this season with one question, and that is, what is your superpower?
That's such a beautiful question that I very often ask my clients and my audience. I think my superpower is to love unconditionally, to love no matter what happened. I always find my way to love even better, even more, even stronger. And that love is really like what's empower me to keep moving on, to keep trusting, to keep showing up, to keep creating what I'm creating, to keep finding solution, to change the mentalities and really like helping people on a deeper level to realize that there is more than just what you can see. And it's like love. It's like love. You cannot see love, right? But you can feel it. And so yeah, I think that's one of my superpower. And I think my French accent also, like, I think it's a very good, it's a good gift.
It is. I love hearing it. And wow, that superpower, gosh, you made me like a little emotional just hearing you speak about that. And I can tell that it is so true. Like I just get that sense from you. There's so much love for what you do, for the people that you help. And, especially I think from your mission too, of helping I think as you put it, like the nonlinear entrepreneurs, the people who are looking for something different.
I call them my misfit. Those are my misfits.
Yes, the people who need that extra love, right? Because they're not always getting that from society or from like the quote unquote norm. So yeah, I love that superpower. Thank you so much for sharing it.
And what's super cool is that you can even love the hater. And that thing that it makes the superpower even more powerful.
Yes.
When you're always looking for the love parts in what you do.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you for sharing everything that you have with us today on the podcast. Before you go, I want to make sure that people know how they can connect with you and find out more about you.
I'm very active on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn, Charlotte P. Noble. I share a lot of great content over there. We also have a Facebook group. We do monthly masterclass. That's a good one. Monthly complimentary masterclass every first Tuesday of the month, 9 a.m. PST. It's about 60 minutes. And we're going for the 5 sweet shifts to help you accelerate, to help you activate the quantum leap. So we talk about quantum mastery, which is my favorite topic. So LinkedIn and monthly masterclass, the best way to connect with me.
Perfect. So we will, of course, link to those places in the show notes. Check out her masterclass. I am definitely going to check out the next one. I got an email today and I was like, how did I miss this? How have I been missing these? So check those things out. Charlotte, thank you so much for being on the show and for all that you do for everyone out there trying to live a more intuitive life and have a more intuitive business.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Podcast and Amplify. If you love the show, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And the best way to support this show is by sharing, rating, and reviewing the podcast. For those of you who leave a review, you'll get the chance to win a 30-minute strategy session or a mini audit of your existing podcast. Thanks for listening. And remember, your voice and what you have to offer is needed in the world. Until next week, take care.